I apologize if I'm looking a little bit rough today. It's a DIY day. I'm doing 3 Halloween costumes this year, and they all involve a DIY accessory. So I'm going to show you guys how I make all of those. I'm going to have 3 separate videos and 3 additional separate videos to show you those individual costumes. Elements of all of those costumes are going to be vintage, or at least one part of the costume is going to be vintage. If you don't know, Lone Marie Vintage is an online shop. You can visit the shop and look at some really cool pieces at the link in the description below. If you know me, you know I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. It's right after my birthday. My birthday is October 27th. I have a twin sister, and growing up, we always had Halloween-themed birthday parties. It's not like being a Christmas baby where your birthday's always ruined because Christmas is right after. Having a Halloween birthday is awesome. My sister and I were born on the 27th, came home from the hospital on Halloween dressed as pumpkins. So it is just in our blood, and we are just Halloween people. So like I said, we're going to be doing 3 costumes this year. The first costume, because I just love a classic look, is we're going to be doing a witch costume. So this witch costume, what I'm going to do is a variation on a hat I made 4 years ago. Just to kind of show you how to make this sassy little witch hat. It's really easy, and you can really customize it the pattern that we do on the hat, but we're going to go ahead and get started. The materials you need for this witch hat: you're going to need thick poster board, you're going to need spray paint, a hot glue gun, and a headband to match your hair color. Now if you don't have a headband to match your hair color, you can spray paint that too. So the first thing we're going to do is draw out our shapes. I'm using a little white eyeliner pencil just so I can see it on the black poster board. I'm using a cookie tin lid to make a perfect circle. This is not an exact science, it just has to be big enough to support the top of your hat. And now we're going to sketch out the top of our witch hat. This is a little more difficult. The best way to describe this is not a half circle, but a half oval. I use the straight edge of the poster board as a guide for the straight part, and then you just make a little curve on the opposite side. So now we just have to cut out our circle and our half oval shape. Once we have that half oval cut out, we're going to kind of manipulate it and curl it into itself to make a pointy little triangle cone shape. Now I'm going to hot glue the seam of our newly formed cone just to make sure it stays together and it's not going to unravel. So be generous, we can hide the hot glue marks with the design we're going to put on later. So now we're going to get into the design. I decided to do a spiderweb design. You're going to start with the straight up and down lines that are going to match the seam, and then we're going to use kind of another half circle kind of loopy design in between those straight lines to make a spiderweb look. If this is too complicated, you can just put on some random hot glue marks and it will look fine. You don't have to do a spiderweb pattern. I just thought it would be fun to try, but it will end up looking something like this. This next step is optional. I just thought it would be a fun little detail. I have this little spider, and I'm going to add her onto my spider web design on my hat. Now it doesn't matter what color the spider is, or really any of the marks or anything you put on this hat, because the whole thing will be covered in spray paint. I'm going to bring that same spiderweb design onto the base of my hat. Now whatever design you chose to do on the top of your hat, be that squiggly lines, polka dots, just bring it here to the base. Most of this base will be covered up by the top of the hat, so you really only have to worry about the sides. Now I'm going to attach the top of my hat to the base. Be very generous with the hot glue. It's okay if you have a really thick seam. Again, we're going to cover it all up with spray paint, but you want to make sure that it's secure and it's not going to fall off when you're dancing or having fun or trick-or-treating. And like I said, we're going to cover it all with spray paint, so it doesn't matter if it's a little bit messy. It just adds to the texture. Now you just have to spray paint your hat. It might take a couple coats. Any black spray paint will work, and you will see that the paint covered any imperfections and any marks we didn't want to be seen. To attach the hat to the headband, you just need a 1 inch by 3 inch piece of the poster board, and we're just going to kind of sandwich the headband in between the hat and that little strip of poster board like so. Again, be generous with the hot glue. You can either position your hat right in the center or more off to the side. I wear mine off to the side just because of the way I usually wear my hair. This is the finished piece. It is just a super cute, super easy little witch hat. Again, it's made out of paper, so you do have to be careful with it. Either store it in a very safe place or just make yourself a new one next Halloween if you break it in the meantime. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Like I said, this was pretty easy and not very expensive at all. If you like this little witch hat and you make your own, please feel free to tag me on social media. I'm Lone Marie Vintage everywhere. Like I said, there are more costumes to come. I will have links to my other costumes and links to the costume videos in the description below. So that's that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for even more wonderful things. Please check out Lone Marie Vintage at the link in the description below to see the online store. I hope you have a happy Halloween and happy crafting.